Hey, HannahMouse1 here. Welcome to the devlog for a game I made for the first of the monthly Muu-Off scratch game jams hosted by Jimmy over at MuuMuuGames. I'll link his channel down below. The theme of this jam was infection, and usually I find that one of the game ideas that I've had floating around in my head for God knows how long just seem to fit with the theme of a jam, and I know roughly where I want to take the game, but that really didn't happen this time, so I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, so to speak. The first thing that came to mind for me was the anime series Cells at Work, which is about a hapless red blood cell who frequently needs to be saved from the evil pathogens by white blood cell senpai, which made me want to personify cells as people in my game. And for whatever reason, the second thing that came to my mind was a game I used to play called Theme Hotel, where you have to keep a hotel running and your guests satisfied. And given the time limit, I had to use these two very random ideas and dive right in. I started by creating the art for the hotel in which the game is set. The rooms are based off of different organs, so the heart, liver, lungs, brains, etc. And the elevator shafts between them are meant to look like blood vessels. For the organ rooms, I try to take inspiration from the organs in their structure and their functions for the room design. So for the heart, I split the room in four to reference the four chambers of the heart. The stomach has a yellow wavy background to mimic stomach acid, and the brain is covered in wires as the brain is constantly transmitting electrical signals to function. I then made it so that the hotel generates when the game starts. I roughly tried to position the organ rooms where they are in the body. I mean, very generally speaking. So the brain is at the top, and then the heart and lungs and the stomach and so on. Obviously, most people aren't square building shapes with their organs neatly arranged into rooms, but I think it's close enough. And I made it so that you can move the camera around with the building moving as appropriate. Next, I made the art for the red blood cell, dressing them up in little bellboy uniforms, which worked really well because the stereotypical uniform is already red. I did versions where they're holding trays and bin bags and they're transporting oxygen or waste around the body, and recolored each costume to be purple for once the cell is infected. I then coded it so that the blood cells can move from room to room. I made it so that the cells can select a room, figure out the X and Y position of the room based on values in a list, and then move to the room, going to the elevator shaft and then going to the correct floor if the Y position is incorrect, and then moving horizontally to the correct X position. I made it so that cells sometimes deliver trays to rooms or remove waste from them. I tried to have it sort of make sense, like cells often go to the heart, then take waste to the lungs, and then collect a tray before returning to the heart, or else they go to the kidneys and take waste from there to the bladder. It's simple and certainly not a biology lesson, but it adds a little bit of character to the swarm of cells, and it's actually just kind of fun to watch them milling around the hotel. But fun as it might be, it's lacking something pretty important, the actual game part of it. So I set it up so that whenever cells go to either the stomach or lungs, there's a chance for them to become infected. I set it up so that whenever cells go to either the stomach or the lungs, there's a chance for them to become infected, as though there's a food or airborne illness going around. I made it so that whenever an infected cell goes to a room, that organ becomes a bit more infected, and so that you can clear cells of infection by clicking on them. I created the art for the different rooms with increasing levels of infection to indicate how close to shutting down the hotel is, and coded it so that rooms could switch to the correct one of these costumes. I created a game over screen, and I thought it'd be funny if it looked like a gravestone. It has a cause of death line to tell you which organ shut down, causing you to lose the game, and it breaks down how long you survived into minutes and seconds. I didn't worry about going up to hours because my average survival time is about 1.5 minutes. If you get to over an hour, you deserve a medal. And I set up the start screen to look like a hotel in the same fleshy pink of the rooms, and the play button looks like the front door. I knew pretty much from the get-go what I was going to call this game, so I'm happy to welcome you to the Cell Hotel. And with that done, the game was a complete experience, so I could start moving on to adding layers of complexity without fear of running out of time. So I made it so that the game progressively gets more difficult, with cells moving faster with a higher chance of infection as time goes on, and having more cells spawn in over time to add to the visual chaos and to give the player more to keep track of. I added the ability to clean rooms to rid them of infection. I made it so that you can click a room and assign it to be cleaned, and created the art for white blood cells that clean the room. White blood cells in real life have a bubbly, almost cloud-like appearance, so I tried to mimic that in their puffy hairdos and skirts, and I gave them tiny cleaning supplies. I made it so that they just mill around on the bottom floor until you select a room to clean, and then they rush to that room until it's clean, or you select a new room. You'd think that giving the player the ability to clean rooms might make the game easier, but it's shocking just how many infected cells can slip by in the half a second of distraction it takes for you to click a room. And then I had some fun with the soundscape, adding effects for when you click on rooms or cells, and then adding some ambient breathing and heartbeat sounds that get louder as the difficulty increases. I threw together a super simple music track that does the opposite, starting loud before getting quieter to hopefully up the tension as things get more frantic. I shared the project on itch.io and got it submitted to the jam. Am I super proud of this game? Honestly, no, not entirely. It's pretty basic, but I do think it's fun for what it is. I like the art style and it definitely fits the theme, and it was a lot of fun to make. I think that this monthly Muu-Off series of jams is a really fun idea, and I can't wait for the next one. And apart from that, thanks for watching. watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you did. It lets me know there's something to see more of. Join the Discord link down below, and I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!